Ladies and gentlemen, what a way to start off another great EG Classic tape with nothing better than a World Championship match with the champion, Carlos Colon, the World Wrestling Council's heavyweight world champion, versus none other than the Brat, Tully Blanchard.
Carlos Colon and Tully Blanchard have a rivalry.
This rivalry and feud started in San Antonio, Texas in 1983. Hugo Savinovich, and they've carried it all over the Caribbean and all over Southeast Texas.
Not only in the World Wrestling Council banner, but also in the NWA. Blanchard, one of the premier athletes in the world of professional wrestling, and Carlos Colon representing the World Wrestling Council, a title that Tully Blanchard was definitely sure that on this occasion he was going to take it.
That's right. He thought that he had everything going for him. He was down in Carlos Colon's backyard in Puerto Rico, and right there he's just going to take it right to Colon. He thinks he's going to take this world title, and I'll guarantee you one thing. Tully Blanchard, if I know him the way I know him, he'll be out there giving 110% all night long.
Referee Ricky Vargas Beniquez from Puerto Rico. And this match taking place in Guaynabo, just 20 minutes away from San Juan. A beautiful building called the Mets Pavilion.
Yeah, like I said, Carlos Colon's backyard. But you know, when you're a world champion, you can kind of do that. You can kind of pick your places you want to wrestle for those title matches. Right there was a nice exchange.
Whoa. One thing about Carlos, you know, he is not that heavy. He's not that tall, but he does stand with any of the big guys as far as the punching power is concerned.
Well, Carlos Colon's got a lot going for him. Carlos Colon is probably one of your premier wrestlers. He can wrestle, he can street fight, he can do anything you want to do. And I'll tell you what, sometimes when he goes out there and starts street fighting with you, you kind of wish you hadn't started things.
Well, sometimes you don't notice that much on the height of Carlos. He's 6 feet tall, but when you're talking about the man involved in professional wrestling, being 6 feet tall is not really that much of an advantage because they're a much bigger man.
That's right, but you know, it's the old cliche, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, and all men are equal when they're laying flat on that mat. You know what I mean, Hugo? Well, I'll tell you something right now. Tully Blanchard has started this match off in a very, very fast hurry, walked over, slapped Carlos Colon's face. Now he's trying to stay away from Colon. Tully Blanchard's got to change his tactics. That's what Tully Blanchard's got to do.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the career in Carlos Colon. Great wrestler, holding a lot of prestigious titles, including the World Cup given to him in Africa in a big tournament. Over 90,000 fans watching the final event. What about Blanchard? You know a lot about the career of Tully Blanchard.
Well, Tully Blanchard was a great tag team partner at one time. Him, the dynamic duo, the late Gino Hernandez, were probably the longest reigning Texas tag team champions ever in the history of Southwest Championship Wrestling. Tully Blanchard was a Southwest heavyweight champion, one half of the World NWA tag team champions. Tully Blanchard was also a great amateur athlete. He played football at West Texas State where he was quarterback. And Tully Blanchard is one heck of an athlete. Comes from a great family. His dad, Joe, is in the Hall of Fame at Kansas State University.
Very nice man.
Very nice man. And as a wrestler and a football player. So it kind of runs into heritage right there on Tully Blanchard.
Okay, but inside the ring, the only thing that's going to count is who gets the pinfall. Is it going to be Carlos or Blanchard? We are giving to you right now classics of professional wrestling, the opportunity to relive all the historical events that took place in the World Wrestling Council.
That's right. You know something, you take a look at this tape, you take a look at Tully Blanchard's hair, and you take a look at Carlos Colon. This tape is a few years old. And like I say, on some of these tapes we're going to be bringing you tonight on this video, ladies and gentlemen, the quality is not going to be that good because of the age and the storage. That's right, on the tapes. But we're putting them on video for you so you get the classics.
Carlos Colon all over Blanchard.
Like I said, Tully's got to change his tactics if he wants to win this. He's got to start getting Carlos Colon in a little bit of a situation, near pin situation here. And he better do it quick before the fans get involved in the match.
This match for the World Wrestling Council World Championship, this was way back before Ric Flair and Carlos Colon went at it for the Universal Championship, title that Carlos Colon won on a very strong and rough match with Ric Flair.
That's right. You see that Carlos Colon threw that man the turnbuckle. Tully Blanchard left his feet, hit the top rope, went over the top rope to the apron to the floor. Tully Blanchard has definitely got to start getting his thing together.
There was no disqualification rule back then about going over the top rope.
Yeah, that just goes to show you, because right there it just happened. But you sit there and you take a look. Tully Blanchard has got to get on the offensive and quit being on the defensive if he wants to be the world heavyweight champion. That's all there is to it.
Blanchard comes right in, side headlock. He's got something in his hands right in front of his struts. All over the eyes of Carlos.
I'll tell you, like I said, and Blanchard knew it. He had to get on the offensive. He couldn't be a defensive wrestler all night long with Carlos Colon, because if you are, Carlos Colon's going to beat you. There's some nice left hands by Tully. You look how strong Colon is. Colon's not going down. He was staying right up there fighting with you a little bit.
Good move by Blanchard. He followed through, going for the pinfall, and not agreeing with his tactics, using that foreign object across the eyes of Carlos, but good follow through, almost getting a pinfall. Sometimes is how fast you could surprise your opponent. Now he's putting all that pressure on top of Carlos.
That's right, you got that reverse chin lock, and he's just bearing down on it. He's going to wear Carlos Colon down a little bit, get him down to being a little bit more tired than Tully is, and Tully's going to try to take it to him and pin him.
Bobby, for the fans at home right now, what's Carlos Colon feeling right now under that hold?
Right now, he's probably thinking he's getting a migraine headache. If it looks like Tully's got it locked underneath that chin. He's putting a lot of pressure on those carotid arteries going up to your brain there. And I'll tell you something, he'll give you one heck of a headache. And also, the way that Tully's leaning over the top of him, I'm sure that he's taking the air out of that diaphragm too.
Carlos Colon trying to get back into his feet. Not an easy task when you're dealing with a superb athlete like Tully Blanchard. Good tackle by Carlos. Oh, look at this move by Blanchard. And Carlos almost went head first into the floor.
All you do is just grab those front of those tights, let the man's momentum take him right out of the ring on you. And that's exactly what Tully Blanchard did. Now Tully Blanchard's coming out the floor. Oh, nice kick right in the face.
That's more or less your style, Bobby.
Yep.
You love to do that to your opponents.
Sure, the name of the game is win.
Are many of the wrestlers from Texas and Oklahoma or Kansas use the same style, or is that the way of life, or what?
It's just whenever you were brought into professional wrestling and how you feel and how you're perceived by the fans. Right there, Tully Blanchard, what I call a hit and run artist. When you're not looking for him, he'll come out there and pop you one, then he's gone. He's quick.
He's fast.
You take a look at Carlos Colon. He threw Colon over that rail. Could have broke that man's arm, could have broke that man's leg. Tully don't care. Here he goes. See, I tell you, hit and run man, hit and run man.
Good punching power by Blanchard. Now he's screaming at Carlos.
Imagine he's probably telling him to get back in the ring so he can beat him.
Well, this match is for the World Wrestling Council World Championship. And if he is to win, he's got to get the champion back in the ring, pin his shoulders, and make him submit inside the ring.
That's right. One thing you can't do with a champion, you can't beat him with a disqualification, and you can't beat him with a countout. You got to beat him inside the ring with his shoulders on the mat. 1, 2, 3. That's the only way. That's the only way you can take that belt. Tully, it don't hurt. You can't do it out there, boy. You got to get him in the ring.
Blanchard all over Carlos Colon. He was going for a pinfall outside. Maybe he forgot the ring is where you get the pinfall.
That's right. He's probably had it in his mind. He's just going to cover him, and he didn't care where he was at.
Probably being an expert in Texas death matches, he thought this was one of those.
That's right. Here goes Colon. Colon's running around the ring here. He's getting a little excited.
Okay, can Blanchard stop the moves of Carlos? Here he comes. Whoa. He could hit you so hard and so fast. Turnbuckle, hard. Here he comes. High backdrop. Oh, there it is.
The patented the cartwheel right there.
The acrobat of the ring.
On the warpath.
Good kicks by Carlos. He is all over Tully. Out he goes. Is this payback time, Blanchard?
Well, I'll tell you something. Blanchard's going to get paid back. Carlos Colon's going to run his right over the ring.
My goodness. And Carlos goes right after Tully Blanchard. Referee's counting by disqualification. Blanchard will not win the title, so the advantage is to the champion.
That's right. Like I said, Hugo, you got to beat that. You got to beat that champion. You can't.
Here goes Carlos. He beats the count, but he goes right back out to do more damage.
He went out and broke the counts. What I think he went and done. So he got another 20 seconds out there with the man. Well, I'll tell you something. Blanchard looks like he's hurt pretty bad right now.
Carlos is just all over Blanchard, and head first into the concrete floor. And the advantage is to Carlos. If they get count out outside the ring, the champion will retain the title.
There's Colon again, breaking that count. See that? He just rolls the ring to break the count.
Well, obviously he doesn't want to win by a count out because he could have just done so.
Now, one thing about Carlos Colon, about anybody that's a world champion, one thing about it, if they're the world champion, they want to prove. They want to prove they can beat you 1, 2, 3. They don't want to get counted out. They don't want to get a disqualification. They want to beat you 1, 2, 3.
A personal issue then by Carlos and Tully Blanchard, one of the many battles.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, what about the balance on Carlos?
Oh.
That was a very risky move on the part of Colon, and Blanchard right there. Referee warning them to go back into the ring. Here comes Carlos, another headbutt. He's all over Blanchard. Blanchard is now crawling his way back into the ring. Good move by Tully Blanchard.
That's what Tully Blanchard can scare you. That's what Tully Blanchard can scare you. Now, I'll tell you what, when you think you got him beat.
That was right in the crotch area. And you know it's painful, and it's not legal, it's illegal. And
well, I think two things have happened here. I think that Tully Blanchard has exploded on Carlos Colon, and I think that the referee has lost all hope of containing this match.
You are right. I blame the referee for not being stronger and getting these two athletes back in the ring.
Even if he has to get forceful, he's got to maintain control of the match. Any referee has to maintain
If the wrestlers control the referee, it's not a beautiful sight, especially in a world title match like this one. Mind you that dealing with the likes of Tully Blanchard, there's not too many referees in the NWA, AWA, or WWC that could handle his tactics because he will drive anybody crazy.
Well, he doesn't drive people crazy. He just goes out there and beats people. Here he goes, front face suplex right here. Oh, he didn't get him up.
Carlos blocked him.
Oh, Colon reversed it.
Great move. Look at that follow through right on top of Tully Blanchard. He blocks it, putting his
foot's on the ropes there, Hugo. Don't miss that now. The foot's on the ropes.
Now Carlos.
Now this is where Carlos Colon goes and starts getting in his little trick basket. The man put his foot on the ropes, and now Carlos Colon's going to try to break his knee. But what is the finishing hold of Carlos Colon?
His famous figure 4 leg lock. And what about Tully Blanchard? What about his moves?
Tully Blanchard's got the most beautiful slingshot suplex I've ever seen, ever witnessed in a wrestling ring, and he definitely does beat a lot of people with it.
Okay, here comes Carlos. He hooks. Okay, Blanchard blocks it.
He's got figure 4 almost on, but he's got it locked.
Now he's got it.
Carlos Colon's now got the figure 4 locked on Tully Blanchard.
Is it all over for the challenger? Oh,
he's on the ropes. He's on the ropes.
Super move. You're watching Wrestling Classics of the World Wrestling Council, bringing you back into the great history of professional wrestling. Great wrestlers going at it in super confrontations in the World Wrestling Council. And now Blanchard finds himself in a world of trouble. Looking for the world title is becoming a nightmare.
Well, I'll tell you something. He's created his own bed and he had to lie in it. And I'll tell you right now, Carlos Colon has taken it right to him. But as you notice, when that man was in the ropes, Colon was not breaking on him, Hugo Savinovich. He was pounding on him. The rules state when a man's in the ropes, you've got to break the hold, break back away from him, and give him a chance to get out of the ropes. Carlos Colon's not doing that.
Oh, Carlos Colon not giving Blanchard any chance. He's going for all the marbles right here.
Could it be at this time that Carlos Colon might be a little scared of Tully Blanchard?
Well, by the many matches they have had prior to this, Carlos knows that he's not to trust Blanchard at all.
Well, you don't trust anybody, especially when it comes to women or money or professional wrestling. You don't trust anybody. You know that, Hugo Savinovich. But I'll tell you something right now. I think that maybe Carlos Colon's a little bit scared of Tully since you say they have wrestled each other before. Maybe Tully has got his number and Carlos knows it.
Okay, good punch by Tully Blanchard.
That was a desperation punch. Like I told you, Tully will come in and hit you when you least expect it.
Okay, here comes Blanchard. He walks right into that punch of Carlos.
That's a low blow, Hugo Savinovich. That there was a low blow.
Reverse style during the match, I should say. Blanchard used the same tactics on the rails outside.
Not so. That was a flagrant violation of the rules.
Oh, look at this move. He does that. I don't know how can a man move so fast, get his rival off balance, and just like a, how would you say that, Bobby? Slingshot him?
He gets his weight going and just propels him through those ropes.
So you use the front of the trunks and you just charge right through?
Get your weight going backwards and just grab a hold of those tights and make his weight go right over. Here goes Carlos Colon up on the top rope.
Whoa!
The referee was in the way there. I'm going to tell you that right now. Carlos Colon had to go over the referee, and when he did, he got met with a right in the stomach.
I have never seen that happen before. The referee still doesn't know what happened, but Carlos is feeling it around the mid part of his body.
Well, I'll tell you something. Like I told you about Tully Blanchard, when you think you got him down, that's when he's going to hurt you.
Oh, he's a tough customer.
He is one tough customer.
They call him Bully Tully Blanchard. And especially if he's got the advantage on the match. He will not go for a quick pin. He will hurt you first. Oh, beautiful suplex.
Now right there, Tully Blanchard could have done his famous slingshot suplex, but he didn't do it. I don't know why.
Carlos put his boot on the lower rope. Tully Blanchard claiming that he is a new world's champion, but no official sign from the referee.
Well, no, the referee didn't count three because the man's foot was on the ropes. Tully Blanchard thought because
the referee
just got hit.
Yeah, elbow went straight into Ricky Vargas. Here comes Tully Blanchard now, right on top of the referee. He lost his balance. Carlos is on top. And
2, 3.
Wow!
There you saw it.
You talking about the referee being in the wrong place for Blanchard? He was in the wrong place for Carlos. I think he was in the right place. Very fortunate incident for Carlos Colon as he pulls a big victory here, retaining the World Wrestling Council Heavyweight Championship. Let's take you fans into the next match. Dickie Steinberg against El Gran Apollo.